But I just want to end my remarks tonight with this thought about Doris Haddock, Granny D. I did have the privilege of knowing her, as some of you in this room may have as well. She was a remarkable woman. She started out at age 89 to walk across the country. 14 months later, at the age of 90, she completed that walk 3,200 miles later. And she really demonstrated what one person again can do in one extraordinary act. And you know, when she turned 100, she was still very much engaged on this question. And when the court had ruled, she gave thought to walking across the country again. You know, she was that determined to fight for our democracy. And I went up to Dublin, New Hampshire last Sunday for her memorial. We have posted on our site the eulogy that was delivered by Dennis Burke. He accompanied her for much of that walk. He ended up helping her write her autobiography. And I encourage you all to visit the site to read that eulogy. With his permission, we've reposted it there. But when I learned of the news that she had passed away, I thought about the fact, as Jeff referenced, that before, when she was born, the 19th Amendment had yet to even be enacted into the Constitution, guaranteeing women the right to vote. She saw in her lifetime 9 amendments get passed by Congress and ratified by the states, enacted into the Constitution. When people say, well, we can't amend the Constitution, that's just too difficult, think about Granny D. Think about Granny D. Granted, she lived a long life, but the fact is that we've done this before in our nation's history. We've done it 27 times before. And now is the time to do it again, the 28th time, to reclaim our First Amendment, to reclaim our democracy, and to make it clear that we the people, not we the corporations, govern. Thank you very much.
In the last election campaign, everybody assumed that McCain-Feingold was constitutional. So therefore, it was applied, I guess, in virtually everything except this particular movie. But it was applied. And as I understand it, if the Edwards Amendment is passed, even if it becomes part of the Constitution, that would just return us to where we were in the fall of 2008. It wouldn't do anything beyond that. And I was wondering if there is any attempt, any movement, any suggestions to develop an amendment that goes beyond that, that really focuses on not just corporations, but on the election process, trying to reduce the influence of money in many ways, not just from corporations, but from everybody, trying to get a lot more debates and other ways of really educating people about the candidates rather than having advertisements be the main way that people learn about the candidates. Is there any attempt to go beyond this issue of just the corporations in the amendment?
Yes, no, I appreciate the question. The fact is that there are, as we know, many other reform efforts that are important out there that are happening alongside this new push for an amendment. The most important of those reforms is an effort in Congress, the Fair Elections Now Act, for full public funding of our campaigns and our elections, with small donor matches, but the bottom line is that we would have a voluntary public funding system, much like we, the voters, passed and Senator Eldridge ran under as the first clean elections candidate in Massachusetts history to get elected. And the fact is that that system is one that does provide more of a level playing field for candidates and for voters. But what's happened here because of this court ruling is that we now really threaten the effectiveness of that kind of system if we don't also have an amendment. Because we can imagine all candidates participating under a voluntary public funding system and one of them being chosen by a corporation or set of corporations to be supported, or one of them being targeted by a corporation or set of corporations, and then the system gets tainted. So I think the amendment is a critical piece now for the overall reform of our system. But I think the other thing that we have been saying here is that there needs to be a recognition that at the core of this question is not solely the issue of whether or not corporations have the right to spend all their money in political campaigns, but whether they have the right of persons under the First Amendment in the first place. And that's this 30-year doctrine that Jeff has referenced that dates back to the Lewis Powell Memorandum and that has been so really corrosive to the principles of the First Amendment that the framers set forward and that had been the history for the first 200 years. So the amendment we seek, to be clear, is one that restores the First Amendment to that original purpose. It does not just simply overturn Citizens United, but goes to that broader point of ensuring that the First Amendment is for people, not corporations.
So you